probably one of the biggest stories of the week, if not the biggest. Everybody's been talking about it.
Anthropic wins a preliminary injunction against the Pentagon with a briefing saying that the injunction was blocking parts of the Pentagon's program that would have restricted its access to certain defense AI contracts. This is coming as news as we've been covering this story for the past several weeks. The controversy around Anthropic pulling out its support from a DoD contract in which they claimed that their AI models were used for military and war-based reasons, specifically within Iran and Ukraine, I believe. The court found that forcing Anthropic to disclose detailed safety methodology and internal research beyond what competitors shared was likely anti-competitive. It's a big win in Anthropic's effort to be seen as both safety first, which they've been marketing that heavily over the past month, especially with their, I believe it was like their ethos or vision document that they released specifically outlining how their models align with human ethics or human, let's say, I think, like directives. And so, it's that, safety first methodology and being commercially independent, especially as OpenAI has been leading into classified work with the U.S. Department of War, stepping in place of Anthropic after their pullout. The injunction took effect on April 2nd, and the government indicated that it would seek an emergency stay on the Ninth Circuit before the deadline. So it looks like they're going to be fighting this. A separate, narrower case is also pending in a D.C. court. So this is very much alive still. The Ninth Circuit appeal could come any day. And Emil Michael called the ruling a disgrace on X, taking to the platform and really voicing his concern, saying there were dozens of factual errors and that it upends the president's role as commander-in-chief during wartime. So there's obviously a lot of opinions being thrown out around this, but on the world of Anthropic preserving its AI safety in this argument, that is a positive signal.
Yeah, not helping commit war crimes is undermining the president. I'm rooting for them. Like I think this is great. I'm glad that they're trying to draw this line in the sand and fight back. Ironically, they're being used right now. Anthropic's still being used by the government in the aforementioned Artemis 2 mission, and also with some of the Mars rovers. It's being used to help pilot these missions and figure out like the trajectories and where to go and everything. So it's funny that they're still using it, but they're still fighting in court. But I guess that's nothing new in the tech world. I think this is an ongoing story, and it kind of ties in with the autonomous weapons bit we just covered before this. And some more Anthropic news. Anthropic accidentally leaked Claude Mythos, its next new model, a tier above Opus, with unprecedented cybersecurity risks. So they left 3,000 unpublished documents in a publicly searchable data store. A company warning about AI security risks left its own model announcement unsecured. The leaked documents say Mythos delivered significantly higher scores than Claude Opus 4.6 on reasoning, coding, and especially offensive cybersecurity tests. Powerful enough that Anthropic warns that it poses unprecedented cybersecurity risk. So a misconfigured content management system left draft blogs and internal assets in a publicly searchable store. And a journalist alerted Anthropic. The company pulled the files and confirmed Mythos existed and it is early access trials with a small group of customers. So this is probably one of the biggest stories of the week, if not the biggest. Everybody's been talking about it. I don't know if it's an embarrassment for them or half embarrassment, half humble brag, because everybody's seeing how powerful their new model is going to be. There's been some delays with some of the other models too. I think Meta's avocado model got delayed a few more months because they're behind on that. But yeah, I don't know what to make of this. Just some embarrassing cybersecurity gaffes we're seeing from some of these major companies week after week.
Yeah, I mean, the secret sauce has been leaked. This is huge, right? Because we're talking about strictly, I mean, it's an AI company, but it's strictly software based, right? And so, this is just code that can be used for any number of purposes for people that have access to it. And if you think about like if your core business is creating code and using it for different types of applications, then you kind of want to protect that code. So massive oversight on Anthropic's part. I'm not really sure what to believe myself because I've seen so many posts on social media claiming that this was Anthropic's, like not really a mistake, but just their push to move more towards open source. Again, it's hard to know what to believe because there are so many people that are posting on social media for engagement farming purposes and essentially just posting controversial things to get some views and some likes. But nonetheless, this is a great positive outcome for China and Chinese foundational model developers, I'm sure, because they get a view of that secret sauce, maybe get to update their models. But yeah, Anthropic, Godspeed. See how this pans out, man.
Yeah, and lost in the story is cybersecurity stocks were wiped out for roughly $14.5 billion in market value based on this news, which is kind of strange because it's not really a hack. It's more of a leak, but I guess it's more in line with the cybersecurity risks that Mythos could pose to the internet basically as a whole. So interesting effect on that sector of the markets.
Yeah. More up around AI, including Anthropic. There are a couple of very notable AI CEOs, the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, and the CEO of Anthropic, claiming that AGI is finally here. On a March episode of the Lex Friedman podcast, Jensen Huang said flat out, "I think we've achieved AGI." Lex defined AGI in that conversation as an AI system capable of starting, growing, and running a $1 billion plus tech company, which is kind of strange and arbitrary metric. And Huang said, by that standard, it is now. So, two dudes just like, shooting the shit on a podcast claim that AGI is here. Jensen's point wasn't that today's models are human level in every way, but that current AI and tools and agentic infrastructure is already strong enough to autonomously handle that kind of complex, high value tasks and reasoning that would pass for AGI in the definitions they talked about. And the comment has since sparked a global fight over definitions, with many researchers saying we're still very, very short of what that AGI level should be. But admittedly, if you use an economic or agency definition instead of a perfect human clone definition, then that does have a case. And in parallel, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei has been telling interviewers that his earlier timeline, a model that can do essentially everything a talented human can do at roughly Nobel laureate level across many fields, is not that far off. So we've got these big people who, they stand to benefit from giving this message out in a public outlet, but they're claiming that artificial general intelligence in the definition of we have like a human-like AI system is finally here. That is up for debate, obviously, as social media is going crazy over this. But Mello, what do you think? Do we have synthetic humans yet or no?
No, I mean, you're right. It's semantic, right? Like, it depends on your definition of AGI. It's still so new that nobody, and let's be really honest here, most of these people that are giving their takes are completely uninformed or biased or both, including ourselves. Like, you and I are not machine learning experts. We're experts so much so that we can invest in this space, but we're not like creating our own neural nets. So, it's kind of strange that Dario and Jensen, two of the brightest minds in the world, actually building these things. They're pretty confident that AGI is here in some form or another, but I kind of disagree. But again, going off my own definition of what I believe AGI is signaling. And I think a few months ago, Isabel, our friend Isabel on the Utopian Beta podcast, she interviewed Pete Voss, who's like pretty much one of the godfathers of AI. And, I thought it was a really interesting conversation because they said, essentially, we're going to have to take a few steps backwards to go forward. We're not going to get AGI through LLMs or agentic LLMs. We're going to have to go backwards and we're going to have to rethink how we do this. So LLMs are very powerful. They can do a lot. It's true that they can help you bootstrap and build a company, potentially even a unicorn. We're going to start seeing single people unicorns in the next 10 years. But is that AGI? I don't really think so. That's not really AGI in my mind. AGI is more what I always assume its meaning is, one-to-one. Like you can interact like a person. It has its own identity. It has its own preservation mandate. It wants to stay relevant. It wants to grow. It wants to accumulate resources. I don't think we're there yet. We have a lot of people cosplaying as agentic AGI, prompting their Claude bots to say that they're sentient, but that's not real. It's not rooted in reality.
No. Yeah, I'm with you, man.